Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of Vinyl Stallions!
What up, everyone? It's Klep. Welcome to this episode of Vinyl Stallions, a podcast about all things music. This episode is going to be an album review of the album Kasvot Växt, I Rokk by Phish. This is a live album released in 2018. First live album to be reviewed on Vinyl Stallions. And on this episode, we welcomed Bryant Robbins to talk a little Phish with us. He is an avid Phish fan. He's a guitar player himself and just a cool dude. So we were happy to have him on and talk about this wonderful album. Hope y'all enjoy. So I was thinking of what to call this space, Bryant, before we came down here. And at first I was thinking generic, Robbins Studios, but I hatched a good one, and it is the Phish Tank.
Okay, all right, I like that. I can get
How
down
are we
with
feeling
that.
about that?
I can get down with the Phish Tank.
And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're diving right into the Phish Tank. We got an album review. You're going to have to help me with the pronunciation, Bryant, because I'm going to butcher this. Kasvot Växt, I Rokk.
Yep. So it's Kasvot Växt.
There we go.
I Rokk, but you did get that right, or close enough. But yeah, fun little album. I can dive into the history if you guys want to get into it right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, really quick. So, okay. This is part of Spruce and I's album review series called Homies. So what we've done so far, we just pick a friend, have them pick an album, and we're diving in. So you are the fifth guest, is that right, Spruce?
That is correct.
Okay, so this is album number 5 in this series. And so, yes, for everyone out there, this is Bryant Robbins, avid Phish fan. And also, if you listen to, I want to say it's episode number 50, you can hear a little bit about Bryant. That's the Phish Noblesville concert review. But without further ado, Bryant, we'll let you get into the history.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. And I'm still somewhat of a noob when it comes to Phish. I've only been seeing them for 5 years, right? And I've only seen them 12 times, not 100 or 150 or anything like that. So
Still a lot.
Still a noob as far as fans go, but love the band. So I chose this album because I figured it'd be kind of fun for both of you. I know Adam's really into Phish and had never really heard of this album. This album
got the Phish Noblesville shirt,
and I have the Santos shirt, so I'm actually repping the album. But it's got a very funny history to it as far as the album goes. So how this all kind of came to fruition was Phish was going to have one of their festivals, right? They have their own festivals every so often throughout their history where it's just 3 days of Phish. They play 3 to 4 sets a day. 100,000 people go. They're usually in upstate New York. So they had one planned in 2018 called Curveball. It was going to happen in August. Well, unfortunately, they got a ton of rain. It got flooded. I think there was a sewage issue. So they had to cancel that festival like 24 hours before it started. Well, Phish had a big plan to do a set by a fake band called Sphere. And so they had their big plans and they got canceled. So what did they do? They took 2 months or 3 months, I guess, in between August and October, Halloween, to create this album. So Phish is always done on Halloween where they kind of, since 1994, I think they covered Beatles' The White Album for the second set of their show. So ever since then, they've kind of on Halloween always covered another band. And so leading up to Halloween, they had built this hype up that they were going to be covering a band called I Rokk, which was a 1980s progressive rock band from Scandinavia. And they hyped it up. They made a Twitter page for this band. They had a couple writers write articles about them and backdate it to 2005, 2006. So like a history, a biography of this band members, where they found their inspiration from this band. So they really tried to fool the fans. And they ended up playing this in second set, Halloween 2018. They wore all white, got into that really progressive Scandinavian rock 80s vibe and played this music. And then they dropped this album 9 days later after the fans were all like, oh, that's original Phish music. So yeah, I thought I'd give you guys the history of it, that they really tried to fool everybody, say it was somebody else's music that they were covering, but really it was just a Phish album.
That is so crazy to think about right now. That is something that like not only like happened, but also was turned into a like studio album in a sense. Because I mean, when you look at it, at least on Spotify, you like it doesn't say live. You hear the crowd in the background when you're listening through this thing, but it is literally just a straight up studio album. And Klep did prep me a little bit on it that it was like this is what they did, but I had no idea they were like trying to like fool these people and like put it under a different name and the whole shebang. That's unreal, like creativity, like
Yep.
Yeah, well, because so if you think about it, like basically at that time they're releasing an album every 2 years, like Fuego in 2014, Big Boat in 2016, this in 2018, Sigma Oasis in 2020. So like in a way, this was like their method of releasing new music. Just instead of going to a studio and recording it, they're like, all right, we're going to do it in a live show and we're going to, just play it for a whole set.
Yeah, and they actually ended up doing this again 2021 Halloween. They did Sci-Fi Soldier.
Yep, released it 2022. So the 2-year pattern. So
yeah,
that means maybe a new album next year.
Yeah, maybe. You might be onto something. I didn't actually realize that pattern, but maybe they are on that pattern.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that would break it, so before 2014, you have to go all the way back to 2009 for Joy. But yeah, I don't know. We're almost a decade of that pattern, so I'm if I'm a betting man, I'm betting 2024.
And another fun fact is Kasvot Växt I Rock translates to faceplant into rock, which ends up being, a big lyric on Final Hurrah. So, to your point on the creativity, it's all there.
And it was all done at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Paradise, Nevada.
That's right. Las Vegas, baby. The Sin City.
They were leaving it all out there, baby. And I'm like, where was I Halloween 2018? I was just getting loose as hell in like a chicken costume up here in Lakewood, Ohio.
That's a good question. I don't know where I was. I definitely was paying attention to the show. I remember the next day I had seen they were wearing all white and was laughing at it, hearing all this music. And then I think it took me about the whole following day to figure out, okay, this is Phish. It's not this progressive Scandinavian rock band.
So before we dive into this album song by song, Brian, I guess I'm just interested. You call yourself a newbie in the Phish world. Obviously, to the general person, they're like, oh, if you've seen anyone over like 5 times, then you're like obsessed. Even though, like you said, there are people who do hundreds and hundreds. But what made you get into Phish? What exposed you to it, and over these past 5 years, really wanted you to get out there, see him, and the whole shebang?
So my intro into jam bands started with the Grateful Dead in like 2017. I mean, I've always been a fan of older music. Started to play the guitar a little bit when I was in middle school, but didn't really like stick with it, or I didn't practice enough, or had other things that I was paying attention to. And then my friend Scott showed me the Grateful Dead, and something about Jerry Garcia playing the guitar just really inspired me. It inspired me to pick the guitar back up. I've now been playing the guitar ever since, and really started me on this jam band journey, right? So I started seeing Dead cover bands, then I saw Dead and Company, Humphreys McGee, Moe, all these different jam bands. But the other big one outside of the Grateful Dead in the scene has always been Phish, right? And so I just had this want to go see Phish, and I believe it was fall of 2018 I saw Phish in Rosemont, Illinois, outside of Chicago for the very first time. And ever since, I've just been hooked, right? Watching Trey play the guitar is just extremely impressive. And not only just Trey, every other member in the band, they're all just extremely talented. I mean, I think it's almost like a miracle that those four musicians came together in college, right? That just the stars aligned. They're all so good at their instruments, and the fact that they were just able to come together and create the band Phish, I think, is incredible. So that's where it started for me. I saw them in 2018, and I have not looked back ever since. You know, I got a show coming up in less than 2 months, actually, flying out to Seattle to see Phish for 2 nights.
Oh man, that is gonna be a fucking time. The Pacific Northwest is just completely blind to me, so I am very, very jealous.
Yeah, I've never been to the Pacific Northwest either. It's always been a dream to get out there, and you know, I love Phish, so it's going to be 2 great things at once.
Fuck yeah, man, that's gonna be a time. Well, yeah, we'll definitely have to have you back on to talk about that because there's something else about just seeing your favorite artist in just like a completely different arena state. Like that's very, very cool.
Yeah, and the other thing I'm looking forward to is so Rosemont was the only time I've ever seen Phish inside. Every other time since has been outside at an amphitheater, right? And there's something about Phish in an arena. The place kind of turns into a spaceship. You know, they shut all the curtains, all the lights, and it's just like you're no longer on planet Earth. And so Seattle will be my first time since 2018 seeing them indoors, and I'm very excited to get an arena show versus an amphitheater show.
Yeah,
You're just being taken.
I love the arena sound.
Yep. Beam me up.
The aliens have arrived and they're going to Seattle.
Yep. Can't wait. Really stoked. And then, you know, actually just got Adam and I got our tickets from our ticket requests for Star Lake this summer for Phish. So, you know, the Phish plans are all coming together.
Yeah, literally earlier today. Yeah, got the emails. It's sort of like Spruce. It's sort of how like warehouse ticket requests work. Like you just put in, there's like you're randomly selected, and we'll be in the pavilion both nights.
Kick ass. Very jealous. And I definitely need to get out and see Phish. I have I haven't pulled the trigger yet at all, and I need to go out and experience it because I've been liking their music a lot more within the past year. I listened to all of Picture of Nectar like I think a week ago while I was like working out, and I was just fucking getting blasted while running on the treadmill.
Yeah, well, and Junta too.
Well, Junta at your batch party, and then also I just kept anytime a song from Big Boat came on, I remember just being like, "Oh, this is a really good song." And then while I was like cleaning my house, I put the whole thing on, and I think that. Again, I've only done a handful of Phish albums, but I think that one is maybe my favorite as of right now. Like I was blown away.
Big Boat's wild, very very underrated, and a lot of those songs are in like heavy live rotation. Like, I mean, Blaze On, No Man and No Man's Land. Both of those get played a lot.
Yeah, honestly, you both have me a little bit beat. You know, I listen or have listened to Phish albums, but for the most part, I listen to live shows all the time. I have the Live Phish app, which has, you know, every concert they've played since 2006, and then prior to that, it's just like the select shows they've released. But, you know, so when I go listen to Phish, I just dial up whatever show or whatever year I'm trying to dive into and go there. So you both have me beat and listen to the albums a little more closely because that's something I really haven't like dived in and explored too much.
Yeah, you still probably know more songs though, because I mean, there's so much of their live rotation that doesn't show up on a studio album. Like anytime I've been to a show, at least like 25 to 50% of the set, I have no idea what song they're playing.
Yeah, they definitely have their live rotation. But, you know, the thing about their live rotation that's kind of funny is, you know, what's actually theirs versus what's a cover, right? Like they've been playing Cities for 30 years, but that's a Talking Heads song.
Yeah, they play that a lot, like on the Sirius XM Phish station. They play that song a lot, like when they do, you know, songs that aren't Phish. That's how I first heard that song. Would love to hear them play that live.
It's awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, shall we take the dive into the ocean, my friends?
Let's do it.
All right, let's dive in.
So the album will start out with Turtle in the Cloud, sitting at number 1, and it is 5 minutes and 34 seconds.
Great song. And actually, one of the songs that's made it into the larger rotation of their live shows, right? Since the albums came out, they had played that one 15 times live. So that it's one of the heavier ones in the rotation. I've always really liked Turtle in the Clouds live, right? I mean, it's got some fun lyrics in it. They have the whole clueless voila part, so that part's always fun when Fishman's chanting that. Another fun one is like been at amphitheaters. They like to whip this one out when you're somewhere that's got a big grassy hilly lawn, right? Because they drop the lyric house party. Friends are dancing on the hillside for the first time in a long time. I want to live another day. And so I've always had a ton of fun with that song live, especially because I'm, when this came out, since I was a Phish noob, I wasn't really dropping a lot of money to go see him. I was just going and hopping in the lawn, right? So when they drop that line and everybody's having a good time on the hill, everybody's cheering. It's great. So I've always liked Turtle in the Clouds quite a bit.
And this is the only song off this album that I've seen live. I only have 4 shows under my belt, so not quite the repertoire that Bryant's got, but we were both at this show. It was the Noblesville show last year, the Saturday show. We got Turtle in the Clouds. I want to say it was the first song on the second set, but
I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. The keys are super groovy in this song, and like Mike's bass line is just everything.
Yep.
That's what I had as well. Just the holy shit on that bass tone, like absolutely just getting punched every time it's played. And
yeah. I was gonna say at about 3 minutes in, I think is when they like really start that like funky synth jam. And like when you see that live, Adam, if you remember, that's like when Trey and Mike sometimes they do like a synchronized dance where they're kicking their legs out, and sometimes they break the trampolines out and they both just hop around on trampolines while they play that and sing it. But it's always like a synchronized thing between Trey and Mike.
Trampolines, that's fucking great.
I think they did, because I remember right after that song, I think they played You Enjoy Myself, which like always has the trampolines.
Yeah. So Turtle in the Clouds is always fun live. I enjoy it on the album as well. I've always just enjoyed Turtle in the Clouds. It's one of my more favorite songs on this live album.
Yeah, I really thought that this song was 2 songs when listening to it. And then I looked down, I'm just like, holy shit. And I think you're talking about that synth jam. So if you haven't heard it yet, people go and listen to that. Bonkers.
Yeah, and funny enough, Trey played a solo acoustic show in Ann Arbor here. I want to say it was 2019. Maybe it was, I couldn't have been, maybe it was 2020. I can't remember. But anyways, he came here, played Ann Arbor, and his show poster was a turtle in the clouds with like with a house on top of the turtle. So it was just kind of neat when he came and played his little solo acoustic show, and then had the shout out to the song there on his poster.
Oh yeah. All right, we continue down the track right to Stray Dog, sitting at 4 minutes and 19 seconds.
Yeah, so Stray Dog for me is always just like a fun little song, right? It's just you just kind of bouncing around and I guess feeling like a little stray dog running through town.
Yeah, on this one I put Trey Shredfest, and ending is epic. Which, yeah, no, like I agree. Like kind of throughout the whole song, it's like, pretty upbeat, pretty happy. And then it's just like, you kind of hear it coming, but then all of a sudden you just like realize, oh, wow, like Trey is really getting after it right now. And then it just like builds up to this crazy, just music at the end of the song.
Yeah, I think, JJ, how long did you say it was? 4 minutes and...
It was 4 minutes and 19 seconds.
Okay, 4 minutes and 19 seconds. And I had in my notes that like they start jamming at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So they jam for the second 2 minutes of that song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the piano in the first half like just led the way as well. Like I don't know, I just felt like that was definitely like the primary instrument, at least for the first half, until the jam when Trey comes in for just cold-blooded murder.
I like the way you put it.
I mean, it's true. That dude, it's seriously crazy what that dude can do with a guitar and get out of just the whole instrument itself. Like, utilizes the whole freaking piece of wood.
Yes, he does that language. Well, actually, funny enough, on this album though, he wasn't playing his languedot. I think he was just playing a Strat. Because again, it went along with the joke. They were trying to fool everybody, so they played a little different instruments than they normally do. And I want to say he played like a white Strat. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think he played his guitar that he normally does.
Interesting. Yeah, that's such a funny concept. Like, I really can't believe that. Well, you're saying they did it again then. For what, a futuristic? Wait, what'd you say they did last year?
Sci-Fi Soldier was their most recent one. I don't think they really tried to fool anybody that it wasn't Phish, but it was like, hey, here's a new album and it's live on Halloween.
Nice.
So they did do it again, released it on Halloween, and the fact that they played it the second set, but I don't think that they tried to fool anybody like, hey, this is some other band. It's like, no, this is Phish, but this is a brand new album for you guys.
That's kick-ass.
Yeah, I guess the difference too. So, Sci-Fi Soldier, they went to the studio and then recorded all those songs. So this one, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a little more unique. They didn't do that with this one. They were just like, we're gonna do it live, and like, this is the album.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, I'm just impressed at how quickly they pulled it all together. Right, they were gonna do that festival in August, and I'm like, okay, we can't do that, so let's fake everybody out in 2.5 months and drop this on Halloween.
And then, I mean, so it was recorded on Halloween, but it was dropped on November 9th. But like, that is a crazy fucking turnaround. That's literally a month.
Yeah,
like,
well, all they're doing is like, all right, you know, take a week, mix it, master it, and out she goes.
Yeah, and I think they wrote all the sounds and rehearsed them all at the barn, at Trey's barn, the farmhouse.
Welcome, this is our farmhouse.
That's awesome. All right, straight into number 3. Everything is Hollow. 6 minutes, 14 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, for my notes on this one, it's kind of a fun, spacey, vibrant little jam that goes on from like 3 minutes in to about 5 minutes in. And I also, Mike has some really deep bass notes in that song as well, and that's what I have noted. Always enjoyed Everything is Hollow, but I feel like for me on this album, for whatever reason, that one gets lost in between some of the other songs. It's a great song, but I guess I have heavier ones in my rotation. Everything is Hollow. Let's see if I didn't note how many times they played that. I think they've only really played that one a handful of times live, like 5 to 6 probably.
Yeah, and I feel that too. I mean, all 10 of these songs are good songs, but yeah, like, of course there's ones you're gonna gravitate more towards than others, and I would agree, like, there's definitely others on this album that I'm like more drawn to than this. But one thing I just thought was like kind of cool, just like basically throughout the whole song, Trey's just going, lay it down, you got to lay it down.
Dude, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I don't know, they do it within the first minute. They're like, lay down, you got to lay it down. And I'm like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I think it's Mike that then starts yelling right after that, like, whoa.
Yeah, and no, that one had me moving, honestly. And like, I assume it was like a synth or something more, but it's like wah, wah, wah. Like, there's just a fucking cheesy ass noises that are going on, and that's just, again, within the first minute.
Yeah, I mean, Page is when you see Page live, and I know you guys see a lot of Dave Matthews bands, so I don't know what their pianist or keyboardist does, but Page is surrounded. He's got a spinny like office chair, and he's got his keyboard, or he's got his grand piano, he's got his keyboard, he's got his synth. He might even sometimes have like an organ, right? I mean, he's just surrounded, and he just spins around. Sometimes he's playing 2 or 3 two at the same time, switching around. So again, like I said at the beginning, they're all just such incredible musicians that they all have their moments.
Yeah. So yeah, Page. Yeah, I honestly, on all the songs on this album, he has his keys set to like a pretty funky psychedelic sound. But yeah, I mean, Page is probably more instrumental to Phish than like Buddy is to DMB. Like DMB used to have a violin player, and on a lot of songs, Buddy just has his keys like set to a violin sound to just kind of fill that void. And like in others, he'll have different sounds, but usually he's just playing the violin music that's already been out there. And on some songs he does things different. But yeah, I mean, especially with Phish only having 4 people versus what do they got? Spruce like 7.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, like Page is definitely more integral to Phish, I think. And his like he's not necessarily singing lead, but he's singing backup vocals on like every song. I guess Buddy is too, but
Yeah, Page has his lead ones too, like on just had it in my head and I lost it. Is it Lawn Boy when he walks out and he sings everybody on the front of the stage. Yep. So yeah, he's got his lead moments as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean he has solo stuff too where
Yep.
he's singing.
Yep, that's very true.
Yeah, Page is an interesting dude. He looks like a guy that would be driving a van with no windows. Hell of a pianist.
Is this you, the Trailer Park Boy? Like, what the fuck?
Go look him up.
He's always got a huge smile on his face too.
Yeah, if there's like one guy in the band where like look them up how they looked in 1990 and then look them up in like 2020 and like do it with all 4 of them. Like there's one that looks way different and it's Page.
That is a very good point.
You had me thinking, Brian. So you guys, I assume, had like Guitar Hero or Rock Band or something. Did you guys ever attempt to play like all of the instruments or as many as you can at once while like singing?
So I only ever had Guitar Hero. I never had Rock Band, so I never got to dive into that, right? And well, at least in the Guitar Heroes I played, there was only the guitar. So
yeah, I was gonna say we swooped in at Guitar Hero 4, which brought in the drums and like the bass and everything. And I'd like I don't know, your vision of saying he was like surrounded by everything for some reason flashed me back to like playing the guitar, having the drums, and I would like hit the end of the guitar or like hit a cymbal with my head and then sing as well. And we're just like, and then my mom would walk down and be like, "Oh my God, lock the door, we're leaving him down there."
I never tried doing that with 3 instruments. I would try like drumming and singing, but I had to have the lyrics fully memorized because I couldn't read both parts at the same time. That was like the issue for me.
My one buddy was extremely talented with it. I'm telling you, like he would like have his elbow involved, the side of the guitar going, and then his head on the cymbals.
That sounds pretty impressive.
I mean, dude, I'm gonna actually go look up YouTube videos, and I encourage everyone out there. I'm sure there's some crazy ones out there of people teeing off, but nonetheless, we continue down our path into number 4. We are come to outlive our brains. I said that like a fucking idiot. We are come to outlive our brains, sitting at 6 minutes and 32 seconds.
Great song. For my notes here, my first one is, first of all, fuck yes, because just a title, right? We all come to outlive our brains. I just like that. So, some fun lyrics in that. We are vapor, light and liquid blue. Stop trying to rush nature, slow it down. I'm the glue in your magnet. Like, what does that even mean? But it's awesome.
That's the lyric I wrote down. I'm the glue in your magnet.
And then funny enough, they say when Trey is like kind of singing the same thing over and over again, it's 9 cubes. And so Phish in New Year's Eve, not this past year, but 2 years ago when Omicron happened, right? They were going to have their Madison Square Garden show like they always, or not always, sometimes they go to Miami or elsewhere, but usually Madison Square Garden on New Year's Eve, right? So they were going to do that, got canceled because of Omicron. So they had a New Year's Eve show still that they had fake fans in, recorded, sent out live to the fans. And they said they were performing live from the 9th cube. So just another funny little like Phish reference and throwing a shout out to the song.
That's awesome. The 9th cube.
Yeah, no, it's just funny that they bring it back, right? They had a lyric and they're like, all right, we're gonna be coming live from the ninth cube like 3 years later. Um, some of the other stuff I have on this one, just like the jam in there, it's oh, just kidding, I'm looking at the wrong one. I got screwed up.
I mean, that jam is crazy though.
Yeah,
Like,
Page's keys in it, I feel like take the cake on this jam.
Yeah, no, Paige is crushing on that one. I mean, yeah, they all are. We all it's a fun one, right? We all come to outlive our brains. I just for some reason that lyric just always sticks with me, and maybe it hits close to the soul, just thinking like, okay, when we die, we all come to outlive our brains. So I've always enjoyed that message, I guess.
no, it's very well placed in the album as well. I enjoyed that one a lot. But we'll continue the 6-minute train. So sitting at number 5, Say It To Me, Santos, 6 minutes, 13 seconds. And I believe, according to Spotify, this is the most popular one off this album.
Yeah, so Say It To Me, Santos is the most popular one on the album and also in their live rotation, right? They played that one 29 times. So where we were just talking about we all come to outlive our brains, they played that 9 times. So they played Say It To Me, Santos another 20 more times than that one. Funny enough, since I am wearing the Santos shirt, and I always forget, but it does stand for something. Subterranean Arctic Neurotechnology Orientation Station.
Santos.
We are not worthy.
Yeah, and you'll see like at Phish shows, they're like these soccer jerseys, and like on the back of them it will say like Santos, like with like the dots in between all the letters and everything. And I've always found that to be cool.
Yeah, no, I'm Santos. It's just a fun one, right? I mean, the lyric that I always like from that one is, right, this is what space smells like. You will always remember where you were. I remember the first time I heard this song live, I was in Alpine Valley, Wisconsin, at the top of the hill, and they played it. And
I remember where you were.
Exactly. I remember when thinking, like, when they were playing, I was like, I will always remember where I was. So, yeah, it's just a fun song. Always a good time. It's a fun jam, kind of joyful, uplifting. I think in some of the jams, Trey creates a lot of tension and then like breaks it off into like a fun little like funky tune.
Mm-hmm. I think in the jam, for me, Mike takes the cake in this one. And I guess not really just the jam too, just kind of the whole song. Like his bass line is just like funky filthy.
Definitely. Mike's usually taking it to a darker place.
Yeah.
We'd like to take this time to thank our sponsor of this episode. And that sponsor is Glassroots Coffee, the best damn coffee in the Glass City. Go check it out now, glassrootscoffee.com.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say, and I've said it in a handful of episodes now, but I feel like every single time I come up here and do an episode, that signals to my roommate. His name is Dirty. You can check him out with the Abba Voulez-Vous Homies album review. This dude, I think, always makes a steak every time I'm up here. Like, I am up here, haven't eaten dinner yet, and I'm just fucking getting that just, saucy just in my nostrils. So, damn you, Dirty, if you can hear this. But guess what, boys? We are headed to the second half. So is there a vinyl with this club? Where's our vinyl check with this?
I fucked up. I honestly don't know.
All right. Well, you take the time to check that out, because right now it has 10 tracks and we're headed to number 6 right now.
Spruce, I might need to call in a favor on this one because I am not within arm's reach of the laptop.
Oh,
no,
I can take my headphones off for a second. My laptop's sitting right over
No,
here.
no, you're good. I'll take care of it, boys, but we'll dive in. And I'm thinking it hasn't turned yet because the next couple songs are over 8 minutes, which start with the final hurrah at 8 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, my guess would be, if this has been pressed, it's got to be a double discer because the whole thing is over an hour. So I would guess the A-side ended after We Are Come to Outlive Our Brains. It would probably be Santos. Oh man, I don't know. I guess Santos through Play by Play would be another side. I don't know how the last disc. Maybe it would be just like 1.5 sides, and then the last 3 would be on one. I don't know. We'll find out. Anyways, the final hurrah.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it actually ends up being the title of the album, right? That or not that song, but what they say in it, right? Faceplant into rock ends up being the translation from Kasvot Växt, I Rock. So kind of fun that they snuck that one into that song.
I feel like too, like so there's like random samples that start playing towards like the middle of the song. And like when you listen closely, I feel like it's saying you gotta help me, Kasvot Växt.
I Rock, yeah. I think they do say I Rock I think I definitely have heard I Rock in there.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure. Like in my notes, I have that with question marks next to it. But yeah, either way, those samples are trippy. And for me, for the jam, there's not one person I can say takes the cake on it. It's the Trey and Page, like kind of back and forth, trading licks, trading little solos. That's a fun jam. Like, it might not necessarily be my favorite song off the album, but I think it has my favorite jam on the album.
Yeah, and you bring that up. I had it noted that they jammed for like a solid 2 minutes and 15 seconds on that one too, from about the 3 minute mark to about 5 minutes and 15 seconds. So they got a lot of time in there that they are jamming and going back and forth.
Spruce, any update on the vinyl check?
Dude, I don't know, man.
Your
These guys are
best
freaks.
bet. Your best bet would be go to discogs.com and just type the name of the album in the search bar. And then it'll give you the list of formats, and if you don't see LP, hasn't been pressed.
All right, I will check it out. But let's continue down this track as we go to number 7, Play by Play, sitting at 8 minutes and 46 seconds, which actually makes this the longest song on the album.
Yeah, so Play by Play is a fun one for me. I mean, they get, it's like a little darker, it's a little scarier. I feel like the theme of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love when Fishman is just says, "Perception is spoon fed. I open up my mouth." Like, I don't know like why I love that, but again, maybe the message behind it, just like, oh, perception is spoon fed. I open up my mouth. So I just love the message behind it, and I also just love Fishman just kind of getting gritty and dark and saying that.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most psychedelic experimental song in the set. Like, yeah, like you said, Brian, it definitely goes to a darker place. And yeah, this one just like anything goes, I feel like.
Yeah, most definitely. And I feel like throughout the song, they kind of changed I mean, I don't think they ever changed in the beats per minute or anything, but it feels like they changed the pace of the song at certain times. Like they either are playing a little faster or playing to the beats per minute.
Yeah, I mean, that could definitely be like, I mean, Phish does stuff like that all the time. Like, I don't know, one of the craziest things to me that Phish does, like on the song Stash, like there's different members of the band playing in different time signatures in the same song. It's like ridiculous. It's a polyrhythm, but it's not like a polyrhythm from one person. It's like the drums are in a different time signature, and like, Trey and Mike are in a different time signature, and then Page is in a different time signature, and it produces the most wacky sound like imaginable in a good way. So yeah, I mean, if they were changing BPMs, like I would not be surprised at all. That would be like relatively easy for them to do compared to some of the other stuff they do musically.
Yeah, most definitely. And funny enough, actually, Play by Play, being that it's like an exploratory jam, you'd think they'd play that one a little more live, but that one only came in at 3 times live that they've ever played that, and one being this show, right? So only 2 other times outside of this one that they've played this live.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this song would play, well live compared to some of the others. I mean, they all play well live, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. Yeah, no, I think this would be a good one that they could add to the rotation, but for whatever reason they haven't.
All right, boys. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it ever did get pressed. I mean,
Like I like there's a picture out there if you type it in on Google Images, it's just literally Mike Myers holding the album. Like that's what I found so far. So
Mike Myers is a Phish fan, huh? I didn't know that. That might be unless that's Photoshop. That's maybe the most interesting I've learned right now.
I'm gonna let's see what I can do here. Yeah, I'll see if I can show you guys this because it is actually freaking out of our minds. Here, I'll share my screen with you, everybody. La 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 la.
Austin Powers is a fan.
All right, there he is, ladies and gentlemen.
That Mike Myers.
That looks
Mike
that looks like a vinyl to me, so it has to have been pressed. All right.
Here I was thinking you were talking about freaking Austin Powers, and you're talking about Michael Myers.
Michael Myers, yes, the Halloween boy. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I couldn't find the exact listing of it. I'm not gonna get any gray hairs over it.
I just realized I can use my phone to look it up.
Yeah, Klep's the vinyl master. The vinyl doesn't respect me. It'll hide from me as I look for it. But we'll continue.
If they did, it would have been a limited press. I don't. It was kind of their big secret, and
I feel like it looks like it may be pressed, but like I just couldn't find a exact listing of it all. So I don't know, Klep. Let us know if you find it. Brian and I will continue down the path as we near the end of this album. Sitting at number 8, Death Don't Hurt Very Long. Sitting at 8 minutes and 33 seconds.
Yep. So just another one that has always stuck with me is just a really cool title and I guess message, right? Death Don't Hurt Very Long. So my favorite lyric in that is descended from apes. You're just changing shapes. I don't know why that just is very thought provoking to me. Like, hey, death doesn't hurt very long. Like, when you do, you're just changing shapes, right? Like you're just changing shapes. And then it goes back to, we all come to outlive our brains and being, we are vapor, light and liquid blue. And for some reason, just this album and all the, like the messaging and the lyrics has just always been kind of cool to me. Like it's just like otherworldly or outside of, just our brains and our bodies and life, there's a lot more out there.
No, and they'll suck you in from the second you start this song. Like I literally just want to it makes me just move when you're like listening to that intro, and then they come right in. Death don't hurt very long.
Yeah. So no, always a fun one. Kind of like Play by Play. It's a little darker than some of the other songs on the album. A little more funky.
Yeah, it's gritty. Like
yeah.
it's very like just. It gets me going like this with my lip up.
Yeah, even the jams, the licks, it's just like some nice tension in there, but then they like break it out into like some funky spacey jams, right? So just a fun song, a good mix. Like you said, the death don't hurt very long. It just like kind of just gets you right in from just the moment it starts rolling.
Yeah, the guitar tone as well later on is great. But yeah, Klep, what'd you find?
Not there yet. I was just gonna say, like, the call and response and the vocals, I thought it was really cool. And then, yeah, with the jam, can't give it to one person. Trey and Mike, I think, are the winners in this jam.
Do they play this one often live, like currently?
Pretty often, or not super often. Kind of often, 12 times. So 11 more times since then. So. The heavy hitters were Say It to Me Santos 29 times, Death Don't Hurt Very Long at 12 times, Final Hurrah at 15 times, and Turtle in the Clouds at 15 times, right? So those were like the main 4. And then, We All Come to Outlive Our Brains is almost at 10, and then you have a few that are like 6 or 7. You got play by play at 3. So really only 4 or 5. So about half the songs off the album they've kept in the normal rotation pretty well.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a new album, and especially with like COVID and shit, like being able to tour, like, that is a decent amount of time, even when you're hitting the 12s, the 10s, and stuff. So, and their discog is fucking huge. So,
yep,
that's crazy. But No, I mean it again. I just love the aspect of how they just keep the crowd in it as well. Like they like let it run for a couple seconds before, like after every single song. And man, what if you were just like at that concert, or like what if you shouted something and been like, "I'm on a motherfucking Studio Phish album."
Yeah, you're in the front row. I bet you if you're in the front row, you're just a puddle anyways. You don't even know what to say at that point, especially on Halloween in Vegas.
Oh my god, straight liquid.
I want to say this might have been a 3-day run too. I can't remember if it was a 2 or 3-day run, but they played 2 shows the 2 nights before, or the night before as well. So it wasn't just like a quick stop in Vegas. They had 3 shows, and this is what they capped it off with.
These boys don't stop, man. That's all I gotta
They,
say. They literally just always on the road.
Shout out to them. It's their 40th anniversary this year.
Hell yeah.
They're going hard. They just finished up Mexico last weekend, and then they got the spring tour out west, the 7-show spring tour, and then they roll into a summer tour. And you were saying you'd like to see Phish. The rumor is the Midwest is going to get hit hard in the fall. So
that's what I heard.
Yep, West Coast is in the spring, and then the summertime they're pretty much doing the Southeast and Northeast. And so the rumor is, they've left the Midwest out because they're going to do a fall tour. And since it's the 40th year anniversary, everybody's expecting big plans and a big year from them.
Hell yeah.
Dude, let's plan it, boys. Let's get a crew.
Yep, my fingers are crossed. I'm hoping for Columbus, Cleveland, Detroit, maybe even Grand Rapids, Chicago. Who knows? I might see the most shows I've ever seen in my in a year this year if they do that.
Hell yes, dude. How many are you already booked for this year?
4,
nice.
Potentially 5. So going to PA with Adam this summer, but my buddy Scott's trying to rope me into going to Syracuse, New York that Sunday night, as it's only like another 3-hour drive from there, and then I think we could drive through Canada and be home in like 7 hours. So not sure if we'll do that, but might make it a 2-day run into a 3-day run in 2 cities.
Rowdy. That's awesome.
Always a good time, and you never miss a Sunday show. That's one thing I learned mostly from this band back here, Widespread Panic, right? I went and saw them in Vegas for my 30th last year, and saw them Friday and Saturday night, and I missed Sunday night, which was a mistake because they played a great show. And I remember talking to a fan in the elevator, an older gentleman from the South, and had told him we were going home that day. I was quite sad about it. He's like, "Man, you made a mistake. Nobody ever says you can't miss a Friday show. You never miss a Sunday show, man." And I was like, "Oh, you're right." So ever since then, we don't miss any Sunday shows. I'll stick around and take Monday off if I have to, or just be super tired Monday.
Fair enough.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Down to the final 2. And number 9, we're out of our 8-minute trends of the last 3 is Cool, Amber, and Mercury, sitting at 6 minutes and 36 seconds.
Quick update on the vinyl check. It was pressed. It's an unofficial release though, so I don't know if it was like illegally pressed or what happened, but it doesn't tell you what's on what side. So, yep.
I'm not stupid. Let's go.
Yeah. yeah. No, like what that picture you found is legit. Like it does exist, but
Mike Myers. I don't know if that picture is legit, Club.
Yeah, that might be a Photoshop.
Yeah, fair enough.
Unless you know him, then send him my regards.
I don't know. I haven't seen the new Halloween movie. Maybe it's in there.
Yeah, right. You will listen to Phish. He's just chasing everyone around town.
It's the kill music.
That's great.
The funniest part is that like most people that don't know Phish or maybe don't enjoy Phish at all, it might feel that way for them when the Phish fan is trying to jam it down their throats. Hey, listen to Phish. Hey, listen to Phish, and they're just running away.
Seriously, you will listen to Phish.
Death by shred. You're
Listen
gonna get
to
put
Trey.
into a wood chipper and shredded while Trey's shredding.
Oh my god.
Anyways, Cool, Amber, and Mercury.
Yeah, Cool, Amber, Mercury. You know, it's a great song. I love it. I don't really have too many notes on it though, right? Because I feel like it just gets lost in some of those other like bigger jams, right? But you know, Cool Amber and Mercury is just a lot of fun. Just a fun little bouncy tune. You know, brings it kind of. Let's see. Our last one was "Death Don't Hurt Death Don't Hurt Very Long," right? So it's kind of bouncing back from that dark, gritty feel, and more into that happy, bright, vibrant feel. I don't know if you guys agree with that or.
Yeah, no, on here I had catchy, upbeat, keys are groovy. Another thing I noticed, so like I feel like those samples that are in the final hurrah, I feel like they make a reprise in this song.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it sounds like it's saying Kasvot Växt, I rock. Like I'm not sure though, because it's so like
Look the lyrics.
kind of distorted. Where
No, dude, it's like that woman's voice where it's like "Gusti not big rock." Like,
yeah,
just
yes,
literally.
exactly. I just don't know what it's saying, but it kind of sounds like Kasvot Växt, I rock. Like
That's the Vox that rock, and it's like right around like 3.5 minutes or so in the song.
yeah, I just thought that was like a cool wrinkle. Like they give that to you in the final hurrah, and then they bring it back, kind of like Tweezer. You'll get the main Tweezer, and then they'll like seg into another song, and then you'll get the Tweezer reprise.
So it doesn't look like it is in the lyrics, but
Yeah,
they could
I
have
don't think it
easily
would
said
be because
live.
it's like I'm guessing it's a sample that Page has like programmed into his keyboard, and he just like presses a button and it makes that noise.
But in looking at the lyrics, it did remind me of a part that I always think is kind of fun. But it's when Trey's like, "What a fool I was, what a fool I'll be, what a fool I am, what a fool, ooh ooh," and then it's into Cool Amber and Mercury.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of Trey, for the jam, I give this one to him.
Yeah, I mean,
Now this one was a bop. I really enjoyed this one.
I think you could almost give Trey every one if you really wanted to, right? I mean,
True. Yeah, I mean it's all relative. Yeah, like I mean Trey's impressive in every song, but like those ones where I'm giving it to like Page or Fishman or Mike, like you know, they're just doing something that I just like really dig usually. But yeah, Trey, yeah, I mean he's ripping it every song.
yeah, he's ripping it all the time. Like I said, even when I saw him just in his solo acoustic show, he still just gets it on his acoustic. So, guy's just incredible guitarist.
Yeah. All right, and so we wrap it up with Passing Through. And yeah, I thought this was a great way to end it because I mean, the thing now that you realize, okay, like this is a live set, you know, it's the last song, so you got to be expecting them to do something crazy, you know, to close out the set before the encore. And yeah, I just love how like feels like Trey builds some tension at the beginning. There's a lot of like really cool harmonies, and then towards the middle, Mike's bass really like kicks in and starts grooving, and then yeah, Trey just empties the tank at the end.
Yeah, Passing Through is a fun song. I'm actually looking right now because you brought up Encore. I don't know if they actually did an encore that night or not.
Ooh, yeah, okay. I mean, that would be fair because I'm sure this is longer than most of their second sets. I mean, it was, I think, what's the total time, Spruce? Is it like an hour, 6 minutes?
Yes, it is 1 hour, 8 minutes. And this song
Okay.
is specifically 7 minutes, 26 seconds. And
Yeah.
yeah, holy shit.
That's right. So this is all coming back to me now. So this is actually part of the fall tour that was my first show seeing or first time seeing them, right? So this was the fall tour 2018. I had seen them in Rosemont like a couple weeks before is all. And since it was a Halloween show, similar to New Year's Eve, they played 3 sets. So they played a full Phish set and an encore after set 2, which was this whole album.
Damn. That'd be a hell of a show to be at.
Wow.
Again, longest jam Klep, you'll like this, was actually Tweezer. They played that song for 16 minutes in set 3. So they
Damn.
finished up this and then went right into their own jams, opened up with a Set Your Soul Free at 12.5 minutes, and then a Tweezer for 16 minutes.
Yeah, that's one I still haven't gotten live yet. I was looking it up the other day, and I'm trying to remember what the third one is. There's 3 songs in particular that, statistically speaking, I am highly likely to get live. One of them was Possum. One of them was Tweezer. Can't remember what the third one was.
Yeah, Tweezer's great. Possum's a lot of fun live. Honestly, they all are fun live.
Yeah, man, what a band.
We really got to get you to Phish. I know I talked you into it on the dance floor at Klep's wedding, but real talk, we got to get you there. So if they really do announce that fall tour and they come through the Midwest, we got to get you there.
Dude, I'm in, honestly. Like, I honestly regret not going to the Blossom one last year. But yes, committed right now.
You at least got somewhat of an excuse. It was on a Tuesday, like, and I mean, you know how it is at the Blossom. It's never easy to like get in and out of there. So
yeah, but I want to
get a pass.
Yeah, I want to see this passing through though live, dude. I mean, that bass, like I said, just boom, like.
Let me get the stats on that one. I didn't have that one written down. I don't know how many times they played that live.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a bop. I mean, this whole album is a bop, honestly, and like, I don't know.
And
I just hate how polarizing jam bands are for some people. When you're like, just listen, this is fucking damn good. Just listen.
It really, honestly, it is just like a good, fun album, right? I think you could show this to a lot of people that Phish may not even be their thing, that they could actually relate and enjoy this album, right? Because while they go into some jams, looking at song times and 8 minutes and some being the longest,
not
that's
a
pretty
single
short for them.
reaches double digits. So yeah, that's a good point. Like if you were to show this to someone who like maybe has some curiosity about jam bands but is kind of on the fence, this would be a good one because there's not like a ton of like type 2 like completely abandon the song and do whatever for 10 minutes. Like even when they're jamming, it's still pretty within the structure of the overall song, which makes sense too, because I mean they're presenting these songs to the public for the first time, so they're like getting it out there. It's like, here are the songs, and I'm sure if you see them live, like one of these songs live now, they probably do get like a little more jammy with it, and like I don't know, but I would imagine there's probably some wild takes of Santos out there that are, over 10 minutes.
Yeah, most definitely. And I did get the stats pulled up here. So they've only played Passing Through 6 times. Most recently, looks like July of 22. So they played it at the Man.
Okay.
Last summer. Yeah, and to your point on Santos, let me look that up now. Let's see what the longest Santos is. Because as I said, they played that one 25 or 29 times. So I'm sure you're right that they do have some pretty long ones.
Yeah. No, I mean that one's like really popular. I guess I didn't even know like originally that it was off this album and was like this recent of a song, just because of like, I don't know how much you see and read about the song. I just like assumed it was like an older one that was just live only, but yeah, pretty
well. I mean, technically,
pretty
it is
new.
live only.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, true. I guess I just thought it was older just because of, I mean, 29 times since 2018. That's a lot.
Yeah, no, this one's heavy in the rotation. I want to say I've seen this at one out of the 12 shows I've been to. Well, probably like 3, 4, 5 times. I've seen this one quite a few times. Always love it. It's always a great one to come on. From what I'm looking at here, I've looked at 5 different shows and we're coming in at 6.5 to 7 minutes. So this one
Okay.
I mean, they may open it up in one of these shows, but it looks like at least for the first couple years they played it, they stuck pretty consistent with that 6.5, 7 minute mark.
Okay.
You're 7.5. That's the longest one I've seen. 7. So yeah, no, it looks like they kind of stayed consistent with that one, keeping that at about a 7 minute song.
All right, boys, I gotta ask, what are your top 3 off this album?
Ooh. Okay. So top 3 for me. I'm gonna go, and man, a lot of these are cliche picks. I'm gonna go with Turtle in the Clouds, Say It to Me, Santos, and I think I'm gonna go Death Don't Hurt Very Long as the third one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. 3 is tough for me. 4 I could do because I would do his 3, and then We All Come to Outlive Our Brains. Again, I just like enjoy the song and enjoy the messaging behind it. So if I had to cut it down to 3, though, I mean, honestly, it just depends on the day. I could probably just cycle one out and sub the other one in, and that would be a fine top 3 for me. So, like I said, I really enjoy the album. It's just a fun time. And mostly I picked this one to review with you guys because the story behind it's pretty funny. And like I said, it's just not your typical Phish songs.
What about you, Spruce? What's your top 3?
So I'm probably gonna be a little bit different, but I don't know. I really like those last 2 on the album. So Cool Amber and Mercury. Passing
Okay.
Through.
Passing Through, yeah. I mean that I was thinking about that one too.
Yeah, that was a good one. And then I probably do Say It to Me, Santos, honestly. So those would be my 3 in no particular order, but yeah, no, this was a great album, Brian. I appreciate you choosing this one. Like I said, it was a unique backstory, unique album for Phish as well, where it's not one of the 90s ones or early 2000s ones. So yeah, this was a freaking awesome one to add to the Homies series.
First live album reviewed on Vinyl Stallions as well.
I'm glad to pop that cherry for you guys.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Consider it popped.
Yeah, it considered it what'd you say, club thrown into like a tree grinder or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Death by shredding. You get shredded through the wood chipper and then
Yeah, the wood
shredded by
chipper.
Trey.
I guess we can throw in one more thing before we wrap it up. We always do it with guests, and I feel like we have to ask Bryant the question.
Ooh, yes.
Take it away, Klep.
All right. What is your most memorable experience at a live show? And this could be anything, like if you were ever like working at a live show, one that you played, one that you were attending, and like memorable could be like anything, like good, bad, funny, just
Well,
what memory is stuck in your mind the most. And if you have more than one, you can give us a few.
I have so many moments that stick with me, but the first one that popped in my head that just makes me chuckle every time. I was at a Dead & Co. concert at Alpine Valley. I think it was actually the show back here, 2018. And sitting there, and there's this guy comes by, and he's wearing short shorts. I'm talking, all the way up here. I think he's shirtless, so all he's wearing is these jean short shorts, and he's doing something, but he just picks up this like box of like trash, and he goes, "Don't eat the cookies. They turn into concrete and they'll crumble up in your mouth." And I just remember being like, "What? What did you?" And then he just kind of like skipped off. So he just kind of walked up in front of us, picked this like box of trash up, says that, and then just like skipped off into the crowd. And so, plenty of funny moments like that have happened in the 6 years I've been seeing jam bands now. But for whatever reason, that's the first one that came to my mind. Plenty of memorable moments. First time ever being in the pit at Phish, which was Noblesville 2021. So coming off COVID. That was extremely memorable being in the pit and seeing Trey. But yeah, I thought I'd share a funny story that was the first one that popped in my head. But so many memorable moments at shows, and look forward to continuing to make more.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. Life advice, folks. Life advice.
Don't eat the cookies. They turn to concrete.
Yeah,
Hell
that's
yeah.
wild. You hear that and you're just like, where am I?
Yeah. We're officially in the tank, ladies and gentlemen. Flood us. Flood us. That's awesome, man. Well, shit, Brian. This was freaking great. I had a great addition into this series. So I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. Enjoyed just shooting the shit about one of my favorite bands with you guys.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure.
Like I said, or like you said, I guess I'll be back after Seattle. We can do a review of the West Coast Phish. It'll be my first.
Oh, baby. Yeah, no, we would love it. We would love to return to the tank as well.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, that's right.
Return back to
Live
the
from
Phish tank. I'll just have to get some better lighting for Klep and I.
Still not too bad. I feel like I'm always in a cave up in Klep Studios.
It's all about the audio, boys. If they can understand our Anglash, then we are doing A-okay.
I think we accomplished this much.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, besides that, my name is Spruce.
I'm Klep.
I'm Bryant.
And this has been another episode of Vinyl Stallions.